Hello everyone. Today let's solve the problem. This one variety is discouraged. Right. So this was asked in Codeforces round 1005 div 2. Right. So what the question states here, one thing you can just go through the question. So I'll just summarize the question so that it will be easier to understand. So what the question states here, we are given an array A. You can clearly see here this one I'm speaking of, inputs they're speaking of, right? So we are given an array A, and we can remove at most one contiguous subarray. So suppose if we are having one triple one here, five ones, right? So we can remove any one contiguous subarray, right? So that's what they have given here. We can remove at most one contiguous subarray. And what they have mentioned here, score is nothing but here, score is nothing but total length, total length of the array, right? Just keep this in mind. Score is nothing but the total length of the array. When I say total length, this one, first one, 3 they have mentioned, right? So just give me a second. Let me remove this one. Let me hover over here. So here they have given this is total 3 input. So this one, 5 and this one, trip 5 ones they have given, right? 5 is nothing but the length here. 4 and 2 1 3 2 they have given here, right? The third input 4 is nothing but the this one length here in this case. So here 1 1 they have given, this one is nothing but the length, right? So that's what they're saying. Score equals total length of the final array, and the number of distinct elements. So and the number of distinct elements. What is our main task then? Our main task is to maximize the score, and if multiple results, then we have to minimize the final array length. So that's what they have given. So our main task is to maximize the score. We need to maximize the score, and if the multiple results are found, then we have to minimize the final array length. So this is very important, just keep this in mind. If still multiple means, if we still have the multiple results, then any answer is accepted at that point of time. So we have to print either 0 or the indices L are nothing but the left or right of the subarray to remove one based, right? So we need to print either 0 if the no operation exists, or the indices L are nothing but the left right of the subarray to remove one based, right? So I hope the question part is completely clear. Mainly our main task is to maximize the score. If the multiple results exist, then we have to minimize the final array length, right? So I hope this is clear. The question is completely clear. You can just go through the question. It's very easy to understand. I hope the question part is completely clear and the input part is completely clear as well. So if I hover here, this is showing 1, right? So the first line is nothing but the length, and this is nothing but the subarray, right? So here, I mean array, this one array, sorry, not the subarray. We can remove any contiguous subarray. So this is length 5, and you can clearly see 5 elements are present, and this is length 4, and you can clearly see here 4 elements are present, right? So let's do one thing. I hope the question part is completely clear. Let's do one thing. Let's discuss the approach first, followed by the complexities, and then let's write the code. And for the approach part, let's consider this example, the third one. The length is 4. Nothing but let's consider this one as A, right? Length as A equals 4. Uh, Nothing, A equals 4, or you can directly consider A equals 2132, right? The array is 2132. Let's consider this one for the approach, right? So we need to get the output 2 3. Let's see how we get the output 2 3 from the array of length for this one 2132 I'm speaking. And yeah, let's discuss the approach first, followed by the complexities, and then let's write the code. First, as usual, let's discuss the approach. So here I have considered the same, the third example, right? So the third input basically, right? We have already discussed this one. So the input is 2132, which is of the length 4, right? So we are considering the third input, and the output that we need to get is 2 3, right? One thing that we need to keep in mind here is we will be going with the two pointers approach. So this problem is best suited for the two pointers along with the hashing. So we'll be making use of the two pointers with hashing, nothing but the sliding window. We'll be making use of the two pointers with hashing. Just keep this in mind. So let's move on with the further things. Let's discuss the step-by-step explanation here. So we have considered this one, right? The third one, 2132 as the input. The answer that we need to get here is 2 3. So initial score is nothing but this is of the length 4, we know that. And there are three distinct elements, you can clearly see here. 2 1 3 are the distinct elements, and 2 is repeated again, the last 2 is repeated again. So we have three distinct elements, and the score is quite obviously 1 because we have one number that is repeated. We will try removing the subarrays. First, what we will do, out of 2 1 3 and 2, let me add this one for now, 2. uh, so out of 2 1 3 2, we will remove the subarray 1 3. So remaining will be quite obviously 2 comma 2, right? In this case 2 comma 2, and this one is repeated, right? So this is not distinct and this one is repeated. So when I say this is not distinct, means we are having the same score but the smaller length in this case, right? We are having the same score, so we can make this length small. We can just go with the 2 minus 1 at but 1 because we are having the same values here. So we can just make this one of length 1. So here score will be 2 minus 1 is nothing but the answer will be 1. So the final best subarray to remove here will be 2 comma 3. So we don't have to mention within this this one within the array. So here the final array subarray that we can remove here is this one, 2 and 3, right? So 2 and 3 means the length will be quite obviously 1 because this is repeated. If we remove 2 and 3, we will be removing these three things, so only one will be left right here in this case. So the output will be so we have to the final subarrays to remove will be quite obviously the indices 2 and 3 in this case, right? So 2 and 3 in this case. I hope this part is completely clear. So the output that we got here is 2 and 3, which is equivalent to the output that they have mentioned for the third input in the question, right? Third input in the question. So our approach works absolutely correct. Simple thing, right? So simple one. So what shall we do now? I hope the approach part is completely clear. Let's discuss the complexities now. So the time complexity would be big O of n. Why it is big O of n here? Because we will be processing the array once. Why? Because we have to count the frequency of the numbers, right? Quite obviously. Let me come here. Here we are counting the frequency, right? 2 is repeated, and first we are going with a distinct. 2 1 3 were distinct basically, then we found out 2 and 2 are repeated, and this one we will be reducing this one to 1 basically, right? We can reduce this one to 1 as this is repeated. We don't need the repeated elements, right? For this one, for this particular question we don't need the repeated elements, so we will be we can just reduce the score from 2 to 1 basically. So this is repeated twice, so we can just consider this one as, consider the two ones, or we can just reduce this one to the 1, right? So if we try to remove the subarray 2 and 3, means these three are gone, only one is left, right? So we need to remove 2 and 3 in this case, right? So we will be processing the array once for the frequency and once with the sliding window. We'll be making use of the two pointers, left and the right pointers. Let's see that one when we write the code, right? So the time complexity would be quite obviously big of n. And what would be the space complexity here? Space complexity, you would have guessed, it would have been it would be big of 1 because we are making use of the two pointers, so we'll not be making use of any extra space. But here we are making use of the hash map once for the frequency, right? So here in this case it will not be big of 1 but it will be big of n, because we'll be making use of the hash map and hash set to store the frequencies and unique ones elements in this case, right? So the this one, just give me a second. Yeah, time complexity would be big of n and the space complexity would be big of n as well, right? I hope the complexities part is completely clear along with the approach, as we are completely familiar with the approach and complexities. But now we are good to write the code. Let's start writing the code. Now let's start writing the code. So I'll just come here, the compiler. So first let's import the input output as well as the this one utilities. So package, so I'll just go with java.io.star. This is fine. Import java.util. So what did I do? Util dot star. This is fine. So next, let me make use of the class Bharadwaj here. So within this one, let me give main. Or let me do one thing before main. Let's make use of the static fast reader. So let me make use of the fast reader here, right? So I'll just make use of the variable name b. This will be new fast reader. So this is fine. So let's go with the main function here. So this one, let me delete this one. So this is fine. Let's start writing the code. We have to read the number of test cases. For that one, I'll just give t equals b dot next int. So this is just to read the number of test cases, right? Let me write the while loop here, simple while loop. When it is greater than 0, then let's print for each test case. We have to print the result from function s. So I'll just make use of println here, s out, or the println. So here in this case, for this compiler, we have to type println. So here, let me go with s. So this is fine. What we are doing here, for each test case, we are just printing the result from function s. That's what we have passed here, right? So I hope this part is completely clear. Let me come out of this one entirely. The next step, so let's make use of the static here. So we'll go with the method string s here. So this is fine. So within this one, what we'll do, we have to read the size of the array first. For reading the size of the array, I'll just go with n equals b dot. So this one will be next int. So this is fine. So the next one is we have to declare the array. So for declaring the array, I'll make use of the int a equals new int of this one is n. This is fine. We have successfully declared the array. After declaring the array, as we have discussed in the approach, we will be making use of the frequency map or the hash map for elements, right? This I'll just give map. So key value, this is nothing but integer, again integer. So let me make use of the variable name m, or you can just go with the map. I'll just go with the variable name m. So this will be hash map. Creating the hash map. This part is, I hope this part is completely clear. We uh, we are making use of the, or we successfully created the hash map, or we are making use of the frequency map for elements. Let's move on with the first step here. Main first step, we have to read the array and count the frequency of each the element. I mean frequency of each element here. So let's write the code for that. What we are doing here, we are reading the array and we will be counting the frequency of each element. So let's go with a simple for loop here. I'll just go with int I equals 0, I less than n. So this will be I plus plus. This is fine. Within the for loop, we have to read the element. So this will be iterated value of the a. For reading the element, we'll be making use of the next int, right? So b dot, this will be next int. So this is fine. I hope this part is completely clear. So next is we have to update the frequency. So this will be m dot put of iterated value of a, and I'll be making use of get or default. So get or default here, get or default of, again, iterated value of the a. So along with it, we are updating, right? So this one will be 0 plus 1. Yeah, for updating the frequency, we are just updating the frequency here. If it is found again, in our example, it was 2132, 2 was present twice, right? So in that case, we have to update the frequency. So that's what we are doing here in this step. So let me come out of this one entirely. So let's move on with the second step here. Second main step. After reading the array and counting the frequency of each element, if you remember the approach, whatever the approach that we discussed, we have to find the elements that occur only once, right? Distinct elements I'm speaking of. So for that one, we'll be making use of the hash set. For counting the frequency, we have made use of the hash map. Now, for finding the elements that occur only once, or for finding the distinct elements, we'll be making use of the hash set. So I'll just go with integer here. So this one, let me make use of u here. This one here, let's create the hash set clear, hash set quickly. Sorry, uh, this is fine. So here, let's go with the for loop quickly. I'll just give map dot entry. So within this one, let me give integer, comma integer. This is fine. And here, this part e m dot. So this will be entry set. So I hope this part is completely clear. So within this for loop, what we'll be doing, let's add this one to the set if frequency is 1. So let's go with a simple if condition here, e dot. So let me go with the property get value. If this is equal to 1, nothing but we are adding uh, to set if the frequency is 1, right? So we will be making use of the add property. You would have already guessed this one. So within the add property, we have to get the key. So I'll be making use of the get key property here, right? So get key, this is function. So let me write the parenthesis here. So I hope this is clear. Let me come out of this step entirely. So next step is if we will be making use of the two pointers as I've said. This problem is designed to solve with the two pointers, basically. Two pointers are the sliding window. So basically what we will be doing here, we need the maximum length of the removal subarray of the unique elements. For that one, let's initialize this one to the x, right? So here I'll just initialize this one to the x. X is nothing but the maximum length of removable subarray of unique elements. We need to remove the unique elements, right? I mean subarray of the unique elements, right? So this one will be considered as x equals 0. And again, we need left and right pointers. Left pointer, I'll assign this one to the -1, and also right pointer, I'll be assigning this one to -1 as well. So this is fine. uh, we are done with the second step. So if you remember the approach, what was the third step after this one? So we will be making use of the sliding window to find the largest contiguous subarray with only unique ones elements. Means unique elements means it is the element which is not repeated, which is not repeated in the array. The unique elements we had, for the example that we considered, we had the elements 2 1 3 2 in the array. So we need to accordingly with the condition, so we need to remove 1 and 3. 1 and 3, right? Initially first we tried with the 1 and 3, but the best part was 2 and 3 later. But initially the first step was we removed 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3 were the subarrays first we removed, if you remember the approach correctly. So here we'll be making use of the sliding window to find the largest contiguous subarray with only this one unique ones element. So I'll just go with a simple for loop here. This will be int I equals 0, comma j equals 0, and j less than n, and let's increment the j here, nothing but j plus plus. Within the for loop, what shall I do? Let's go with the simple if condition. If not of u dot contains, this one will be a of j. So within the if condition, let's do one thing. Let's reset the starter pointer if non-unique encountered. So this will be I equals j plus 1. This is fine. Uh, Else what we will do? Um, we first we need to consider the window length, right? So let me consider the variable d here. This will be j minus I plus 1. So I hope this part is completely clear. This is easy. So let's write the simple if condition here. If d is greater than x, then what we will do? We need to update the maximum length, as well as we need to store the best left and the right index. So let's do that one quickly. First, let's update the maximum length. Nothing but we are assigning x to d and we need to store the best left and right index, right? First, let's store the best left index. So L, let's assign this one to I, and now let's store the best right index, nothing but R, let's assign this one to J. This is fine. Let me come out of this one entirely. So the final step or the fourth step here is we need to return the answer. When I say we need to return the answer, it will be either 0 or L plus 1 or R plus 1. So this is L plus 1 and R plus 1. Why am I saying L plus 1 and R plus 1 here? We have to go with the one based indexing, right? So let me do one thing. Let's go with return x equals 0. If it is, then 0, or this is L plus 1 plus this one empty string plus this one r plus 1. We are just going with a one based indexing here. So this is fine. Let me come out of this one entirely. So the final step is here, we are going with a fast input reader. Fast input reader. I'll just copy paste this one. I don't, we are done with the logic part actually. We will be just going with a fast input reader that we have considered here. This one I'm speaking of, right? So I'll just copy paste this one. You can just have a look into it. So I'll just paste it over here. So this is just the fast reader. This is, when I say fast reader, I'm making use of it just for the just to read the input faster, right? So you can just pause the video and you can just have a look into it. This one I'm speaking of, right? So I just copy pasted it. I didn't want it to this one type this one entirely, right? So we are already done with the logic. So I hope this part is completely clear. Whatever the code we wrote, that is completely clear. So let's try with the inputs now. Whether let's see whether this works or not. So I'll just copy this one entirely. So we need to get the output 1 1 0 2 3 and 2 3. How we got 2 3? We have already discussed this one. For the third input, 2 1 3 2, which is of the length 4, we got the output 2 3. I insist you to try with the first and the second input. You can just try with the input 1 here, which is of the length 1. You have to get the output 1 1, and you can just try with the input, so this one 5 ones, which is of the length 5 basically. Here you have to get the output 0. You can just try it out, this one I insist you to try it out so that you understand the problem clearly, right? So let me copy this one and paste it. Let's see whether this works or not. So let me run this one. Where is this one? Error occurred. Illegal start of the expression. What's illegal here? Line number 44. So let's see what is wrong here. We have return x equals 0. If x is 0, then we are printing, yeah, 0. This is fine. So we are going with the ternary operator, right? So else we are going with L plus 1, and we are concatenating this one with a string. This is fine. And also plus R plus 1. This is good, right? So what's wrong here? So yeah, what mistake I have done here is I have given triple equals, right? I get confused with the JavaScript basically. We don't have triple equals in Java, right? So let me give double equals here. So let's run the code again. Still we have the error. Error cannot find the symbol e dot get key. So what's wrong here in the line number 26? Let's check what is wrong here. So yeah, here this is case sensitive, right? So we have to go with the capital K, I think here. So in the line number 26, where is line number 26? This one, I have to give the capital K here. So let me run this one again. Yeah, now we can clearly see we are getting the desired output, double one zero two three, right? So I think this works. So let me see. Yeah, we are getting double one zero two three. So we have got the desired output. Let me copy this one entirely and let me paste it over here, right? And let me hit the submit button. Let's see whether this works for all the test cases or not. So let's wait for some time. So yeah, you can clearly see here this got accepted, right? So whatever the code that we wrote works absolutely correct, right? First what we did, we discussed the question. Accordingly with the question, we discussed the approach along with the complexities for the code that we'll be writing, and then we wrote the code, and now we submitted the code which works absolutely correct because it got accepted, right? And one more thing, I hope the solution part is completely clear. Nothing, sorry. I hope the solution part is completely clear. Right? For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.